Everybody loves dads, stories, and the Marine Corps. What could be better than Marine Corps dads who tell stories? Here's another story with veteran storyteller John Sugar Jr., a Marine Corps dad.
Tonight, we're going to tell the story of the cricket who hated Valerie. Once upon a time, there was a cricket whose name was Spidge. And Spidge the cricket used to live in our backyard. And Spidge the cricket would watch every day as three little girls would come into the backyard, and they would scream, and they would run, and they would jump, and they would play. They would jump on a trampoline, and they would play in a dollhouse, and they would play in the mud. Nasty, icky poo. Girls playing in the mud. And so Spidge watched and waited until one day he watched them go in the door. But he saw a fourth little girl. And the fourth little girl was Candy. Ah! And Spidge waited and waited, and he hung on to the side of the trampoline. And as soon as Candy got off the trampoline and started to run inside, Spidge jumped on her. And he hid in her shirt. And he held onto her diaper. And Spidge the cricket invaded our house. So Candy ran inside. And Spidge waited. He's rocking back and forth, and he's like, "Nah!" and jumps off of Candy's diaper, which was weird for him, because it was nasty, grody, gross, icky poo, like he believed all little girls to be. And he jumped onto a giant metal box. Now, bugs have little claws on the end of their feet. And so they can walk up walls and walk up chairs and walk up all kinds of stuff. So Spidge jumps off of Candy's diaper and thinks he can grab onto the giant metal box. Unfortunately, the giant metal box was our refrigerator, which is smooth metal. And his little claws went... And he's sliding down the refrigerator. Ah! Falls onto the floor. And now we have a Spidge on the floor. Daddy walks by. Thinks Spidge is another toy that his daughters have left on the ground. So Daddy hauls back and kicks Spidge as hard as he can. Ah! Spidge hits the wall. Scrabbles with his little claws. Ah! But he can't grab onto the wall. Ah! Spidge hits the ground. And with one leg... and pulls himself back to the giant metal box. And pulls himself behind the refrigerator. And there he lay. That was awful. And then he heard her running by. It was Valerie. And Spidge had been watching Valerie. And he's like, oh, I've got her. Oh, yeah. And Spidge the cricket took one leg and took his other leg and began to rub one leg over the other for an hour.
Oh my goodness.
And Valerie started going, what is that? What is it? And Spidge just stared at Valerie the whole time in the darkness. And Valerie's like, ah! And the sound began to drive Valerie crazy. And Valerie's like, where is that cricket? And Spidge lay in the darkness and laughed and played his legs against each other. And he's waiting for the day. Waiting for the day when Valerie loses her mind. And starts to run around the house and setting things on fire. It's Spidge's master plan to drive Valerie crazy so that she sets the house on fire. And once this house is naught but ashes and ruin, Spidge will hop out of the house and go back to his little cricket hole and wait for his next victim to drive her crazy. And so now when you hear him, you know it is Spidge trying to drive you crazy. The end.
I'm already crazy.
Well, I guess he won't get you then.
That was another story with John Sugar Jr., a Marine Corps dad. Check the show notes for links to his Patreon and website at creativegrumbles.com.